you said before about weird things that people do in public.
Yeah, at least it's public rather than just public toilets.
Boo Foons, mystery investigators.
Off the case.
Welcome to Boo Foons Off the Case, the Saturday episode where we sort of talk about whatever we wish to talk about and try and have a bit of fun along the way. This week, we've been watching people in the general public. Yeah.
General public, that's what you call them.
Yeah,
There's some weird people
watching.
Bit of people watching, yeah. I was just about to say there's a lot of weird people out there, but there's pretty weird people in here too.
Yeah, well, not that long ago we were obviously away together in Norfolk, the Black Shook Festival, and then we went back down to your neck of the woods around Plymouth and Dartmoor and all of those sorts of places. So we do get to see people in different areas and doing different weird things.
Yeah, we tend to avoid civilization though, so we like to go to the outskirts of society where we fit in.
Yeah, where you end up recording us doing stuff, and then sometimes I'll start giggling and you'll go, "What are you giggling at?" And I'm trying to indicate for you to look at something that I've seen or someone that I've just seen, and we then end up both giggling.
Yeah, you do see some weird things out there.
Yeah, I tend to also be that person that will sit in the corner of a pub watching general public whilst drinking my beer. There's also a cafe not far from where I live, so in the Bedford, where you can sit right in the window and watch all the people walking along the high street. And the things that you see people doing walking up and down the high street, you start to wonder, either are they that confident in themselves that they don't care about other people looking at them, or are they just so blissfully unaware of what they're doing? Like the common things of people picking their noses and that sort of thing as they're walking down the street. Yeah. Either they don't care or they end up sort of going, yep, I have no idea that somebody's watching me while sipping a coffee.
Well, when you're sipping a coffee, what else would you rather see than somebody picking their nose and eating it?
True.
But do you ever look at people when you're doing that, when you're doing people watching and thinking, is this really a reality? Everything seems to be so weird. Am I the only one? Am I the only one in my world here that's a real person?
What I tend to do is create stories about people in my head. So I'll see somebody walking down the street and I'll just invent my own story for that person walking down the street. Or if there's a couple of people or a group of people, I start inventing stories as to where they're going, where they've been, what they're talking about. If you see somebody looking quite angry, I start imagining what they could be angry about. Or
can you imagine what people think when they look at us two walking down the street, or when we enter a museum and say, "Can we just look at your haunted museum?" You know, it's like, what do you think they think of us?
Well, they either think, "Oh, bless! Look at that guy bringing his granddad out for a walk,"
or look at the old fella taking out his disabled grandson. Yeah,
yep,
special needs grandson. That's at least I get him free, so that's good. You get special access to all areas.
Yes. Well, I have been on the internet.
Next time we go out, we're really going to do that. You've got to take Starbear. Next time we go out, take Starbear with you or equivalent. Let's see how many places we can get in without having to pay full price.
Yeah, but it didn't work when we were in Cheddar Gorge together. Instead, we ate lots and lots of cheese. And then we got told off by your lovely wife because we both bought, I think, was it £200 worth of cheese each, and we sat there eating it. And the living room after our eating the cheese and the fact that we sat there farting the whole time. I remember Sandy walking in and just going,
Are you sure you said we? I think it was just you.
it might have
I'm,
just been my bum, yeah.
yeah, I mean, we know how offensive your one is.
Yeah. But I do
Still
remember
got
her walking into that living room and just sniffing and going, what's going on? And then she had noticed the massive mountain of half-eaten cheese.
The thing is, I don't even really like cheese that much, but I just couldn't stop buying it. And yeah,
Yeah. But it was very good cheese, though.
it was. It was very good cheese. You just like seeing it being made as well. That was the thing. Like
Yeah.
scraping the curd off the top. Mm.
And I've since made my own cheese.
I bet you have. I know you've cut it, that's for sure.
Ah. Anyway, weird people in public. I've been to the dangerous world of the internet. And after clearing search history to get more cleaner results,
Why bother? Why bother? It's a losing battle.
I found myself on a few websites like BuzzFeed and Reddit and all of these places looking at people's accounts of weird things that they have seen people doing in public. And I will admit, looking through this list, there are things that I have seen people doing from this list. And there's also a couple of stories where I sort of go, hang on a minute, I remember me doing things like that. So I thought we could have a look, comment on at some of these things that I found on the internet and throw in some of our own anecdotes of people that we've seen and also experiences that we have had. With regards to food and eating, a user submitted onto Reddit that they once went into a Target. They were walking around doing their regular shopping around Target and they got to the pet food aisle. When they went down the pet food aisle, there was a lady standing there opening cans of wet cat food, dipping her finger in and smelling it and tasting it, a bit like it was some sort of fancy wine tasting. And they said they just stood there for a good 5 minutes watching this person just taking tins of cat food off the shelf, opening them and trying it. And when they eventually asked the person what they were doing, it turns out they were checking that their cat would like it. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't know how I would tell by eating cat food my cat would like this one, unless you're already eating the cat food.
Maybe she shares it with the cat.
Maybe.
I mean, the thing is, you can't really, we can't go wrong here. All we just do is do a search on YouTube for Walmart, and we see the. It's a bit unfair, really. We should have our American friends on here. If all we're going to do now is attack Americans in their shops. I mean, there's so much material for it. Unfortunately, so much of it is visual, isn't it? I mean, some of the clothing combinations people wear or don't wear.
Yes.
It does feel perhaps we are punching a bit below talking about Walmart shoppers. God, have you got any British examples there?
These are a mix of, as I said, they're from the internet. So heavy on these are things that have been seen in America because nature of the internet and the websites that I've got them from. But there are some from the UK. For example, sinkholes and the fact that, well, potholes and people doing things in potholes such as filling them with compost and putting potted plants in them and things like that and turning them into some form of tourist attraction just to make a point to the council, you must fill this in.
Yeah, what was the one recently? Wasn't there somebody that was like there was some massive potholes in the road, so somebody went round and sprayed penises on them.
Yep.
And the council went and filled them in straight away.
Yes.
Because obviously people were more offended by a cartoon dick than they were of a hole that could rip the tires off your car. Yeah. It's good, isn't it? It's good to know what we need to do. Of course, the other thing is you paint the Union Jack, the George's flag on something and it gets it fixed straight away. I'll tell you something. So I'll tell you something I saw the other day.
Yes.
I was going to, where was I traveling to? Anyway, it was a long Leicester. I was coming back from Leicester, stopped at the service station, very busy. It was a Saturday or a Sunday, very busy petrol station. Went for a wee, and in the toilets, I don't know, any of the ladies don't know this, but they can just imagine the sight. But there's a whole line of cubicles stretching all the way down this room, and then the other side of it, there's a whole line of urinals. So opposite the cubicles, you've got the urinals. And in the middle, there was a bloke standing there with his trousers around his ankles, arse to the wind, having a pee. And everybody around was like absolutely avoiding eye contact and also hiding themselves from him. It was the most uncomfortable sight I've ever seen. But he had his trousers around his ankles in a public toilet there must have been 80 people in there. 80 blokes having a wee, using the cubicles in and out, and this guy standing there with his trousers around his ankles. It's like, wow, what possesses somebody to do something like that?
That's just weird.
What possesses somebody? Why would you do that?
Especially when your trousers are designed with flies, so you don't have to do that.
Yeah, very unusual sight, and I think a lot of people were very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But he looked like he was very comfortable with the whole situation, so it may well have been just something he likes to do.
See, with toilets, I don't like when you go to a toilet and there's a toilet guy.
Oh yeah, because you have to tip him.
Well, I never tip them. I remember my first ever interaction with
You don't even make eye contact, let alone tip them.
Yeah. Like the first time I ever met a toilet guy, it was when I was a student and I was in a nightclub and I went to the toilet, and then while I'm standing there washing my hands afterwards, he's then spraying me with aftershave, then gives me a hand towel, and I was like, oh, thanks, thinking you're a weirdo. Put the hand towel away, and then he then tries to offer me a lollipop. And I then look at him and I go, why would I want that? And he goes, give it to the ladies, ask them for a sucky suck. And I went, I'm sorry, what? And he goes, give it to the ladies, ask them for a sucky suck. You don't know what's going to happen. And I was like, what? And at that point, I was then, I'm now creeped out of random creepy man in the toilet.
Yeah.
I'm saying have a lolly and go for a sucky suck.
Do you know, it could have been worse though. When you were standing there, it could have come and said, "Do you mind? Would you like a shake, sir? Would you like me to shake the drips off?"
And then he started asking me for £2 because he gave me a hand towel from the hand towel dispenser and started squirting me with aftershave, which I didn't want to be squirted with.
£2?
Yeah, and then when I started,
this is when you're a student. This is like 15 years ago. That's worth at least £27.50 now.
Yeah, and I'm walking out, and he's going, "You need to pay. You need to pay. You need to pay." And then he tries to tell the bouncer outside the toilet that I didn't pay him the money. And I looked at the bouncer. I went, "I'm not giving a creepy man in the toilet £2 for being a creepy man in the toilet. No way."
Yeah, you haven't done that since you're a teenager. You should have told him, "I've already spent a penny. I've got nothing left."
And I've seen them in a few places, and I genuinely don't get it. I don't understand it. For me, I end up sort of going, I'm creeped out by this weirdo, and
He's watched you the whole time. He's judging you.
So when that episode of IT Crowd came out, and they had the toilet guy in there, and they were talking about it, I was like, yeah, it is weird.
It is. Imagine that's your job, though. That's the only thing you get to do. It must be community service. That's all I can think. Who would volunteer for a job like that? Okay, a few people would volunteer for a job like that, but it had to be community service.
Yeah.
What if he just goes to all these different nightclubs and says, "I'll be your toilet guy. You don't have to pay me. I'll just stand there, hand out a towel, spray some people. I'll earn some money. I'll give you a cut of whatever I take." Then he just threatens everybody.
Now, this one that I've got on the list here, I've seen kids do this at work, and it grosses me out every single time.
Oh.
It's not 6-7. Blowing the nose into bare hands and then slurping it up.
Oh my God. That's it. We need to have a trigger warning in front of this one.
Yeah, I've seen kids do that, and multiple people have reported online that they've watched people do this.
I blame the parents. I blame the parents.
Yeah.
Do the parents do it too?
No.
Oh.
The other one that I have seen, and so this was somebody that I once knew who used to do it as a party trick, that I end up going, this is a bit weird, is their tongue was long enough to reach into their nostrils, and they would like lick their nostrils and stuff. And I used to sit there going, that's weird. No.
Was this a guy or a girl?
Girl.
Funny, why do they always seem to have tongues that can do amazing things?
Yeah.
I just don't know what it is. It's, girls seem to be able to do things with their tongues that most blokes never even think about. I wouldn't say all blokes didn't think about, but most.
Yeah.
I mean, where's the strangest place you put your tongue? Don't answer that. We don't need to know that.
On the bus window.
Like a bit of window licking.
That's
how you get into your tourist attractions for free, isn't it? They think you're the friendly neighborhood window licker. Forget Spider-Man.
I admit the worst thing. Well, I've got two very embarrassing stories about myself with regards to bodily fluids outside, which people have probably seen and then gone, "What's that weirdo doing?" And one of them was, me and a group of mates were going to Leeds for the weekend.
Okay.
And the night before traveling, we decided, wouldn't it be a great idea to go out drinking? And we went out far too heavy.
You're telling me you even discussed it? I don't believe this for an instant. You actually discussed it. It was just what was going to happen.
It just happened.
Yeah, it just happened. There you go.
And on the way to the train station the next morning, I felt rough as anything. We all clambered into McDonald's to go and get McMuffins and that. I ended up just having a Coke and a hash brown because I was like, no, if I know for a fact that if I eat too much, I'm going to end up being sick. We get nearly to the train station and I couldn't hold it in much longer, and suddenly, blah, all over the side of the street, leaving a lovely pizza pan. What do they call it? Pavement pizza. That's what they call it. And the more I tried to stop, the more it was amazing how much fluid was inside my body.
And it's the next day as well.
Yeah.
Well, at least a few hours anyway, I guess. Imagine you probably didn't stop drinking until like 5 o'clock in the morning. This is probably like 7.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then then when we arrived in Leeds, we were then drinking again because that's why we'd gone to Leeds. Yeah. When I was young.
Yep. I'm not even going to talk about vomit because I have my own vomit story after drinking too much at a very expensive Christmas meal, New Year's meal. That's it. Very expensive meal. And I had way too much red wine. I was 15. And everybody got to see how much red wine I had when it went down the table, and everyone was lifting their plates because I was at the end of the table, and everybody was lifting their plates up as it flowed down the table.
Oh man.
I was then dragged outside and left in the car park until everybody finished, and I don't know what time it was because I didn't wake up for like 2 days.
Oh man.
Yeah, never been a huge fan of drinking since then.
Yeah.
Even though I have tried.
Yeah. Now the other end of the body, it goes back to when I was on antidepressants. Yeah. Now I was on metazapine.
You mean those things that people are going to have to take after listening to this episode?
Yep, those things that people are going to have to take after this, after they've been grossed out themselves. And I was on metazapine. Now, one of the side effects of metazapine is loose stools.
Yeah.
And it did hit me hard, that one. And I had been I'd been in Brighton for the day because I was also signed off work at the same time. And a friend of mine and myself, we were in Brighton. We had a lovely day together just to try and take my mind off things. We're on the train back, and it's a direct train, as you know, from Brighton back to Bedford,
Yep. Yeah.
and it's Thameslink. Now, we were also travelling back at the same time as a football match had happened in Brighton, and loads of fans were going back to London. I suddenly went, oh no, I need the toilet. Went to the nearest one, it's locked. Go to the next one, it's locked. Go to the, then I'm then running down the train trying to find one that is open. Eventually, one opens. I dive in, and before I could take anything off, it just started coming out. At this point, the door hasn't even, those doors, like the slowest doors ever, because they're those electronic doors, that hasn't even closed yet. And I'm going, oh no. And going, no, this is awful. This is awful. So I ended up having to get rid of my pants, travel back commando, got as far as London and went, no, I'm going to have to go and get new clothes. So get off the train in London, get new clothes, get sorted. And that's when I then started to see the funny side of the fact that my pooey pants reached Bedford before I did.
You didn't leave them on the train, did you?
Well, I had nothing else with me. I had no bag or anything.
You could have put them out the window or something, at least.
Yeah, but they don't open, do they? And I wasn't going to carry it back down to a door and then throw it out at a station.
So where did you leave it in the train?
In the toilet, in the bin, in the toilets. Yeah. So there we go. That's a weird thing I've done in public. Yep. There we go.
Well, yeah.
Now you get to know us a bit more.
Yep.
Yep.
See, I'm lucky at my age. I've forgotten all those things I did, so I have no stories to tell apart from that one down the table of a very expensive restaurant. Everything else is now just. It could be real. It might just be me imagining it.
Yeah.
But definitely the guy's ass. That was real. I don't know. It's funny. People do the weirdest things. And it just makes you wonder, is it just, you've got to say, it may be a kink.
Well, talking about public transport and that train back from London, not that long ago, well, at the time of recording this, it wasn't that long ago, I went into London to go and see a mate and have a few drinks and catch up. And on the way back, there was a bloke, when you get the sort of table seats where you've got 4 seats.
Yeah.
There was a bloke sitting there and he had no earbuds in. His phone was just on the table and I couldn't hear anything from the phone. So it wasn't like it was on speakerphone, just sitting there having a whole conversation with himself on the train, to the point where he was looking at other seats as though there was somebody there talking to him back and responding to him. And he was having this whole conversation. He was sitting there going, like some of the bits I remember was going, yeah, that was quite lovely. So why didn't we go to that place in the end then? Because we did walk past it and I did see it and we were going to go in there, weren't we? And then he'd look at one of the empty seats and he'd go, yeah, well, that did make sense because we did have to get to that place for the meal. And he's just having this whole, as though people were sitting there having a conversation with him. And it was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. Now, I know in TV shows and films, that's how people show schizophrenia, but schizophrenia doesn't really work like that in the real life. So the only other thing is maybe there were ghosts there talking to him, but it was almost like he had imaginary friends sitting there that he was having a full-blown conversation with.
So weird. And you didn't think to ask him?
No, because I got creeped out and I decided to move seat.
He didn't want to get stabbed. I don't know. That's very unreasonable of you, not wanting to get stabbed.
It wasn't so much that. It was more the fact of I was like, I don't want to be brought into this conversation at any point and have to talk to imaginary people.
Yeah, but he could have introduced you. There might have been real people.
Yeah, what people we couldn't see.
Just because you couldn't see him, there might be a djinn. He could have been talking to interdimensional creatures.
Yeah. Well, I have seen on TikTok, there's a guy that he's got. So this sounds very Wallace and Gromit. There's a guy that I've seen on TikTok who has a motorbike with a sidecar, and he has his dog sitting in the sidecar with helmet and goggles, and he'll just casually drive around like it's completely normal.
My dad used to do that with Alfie. Alfie, the dog that I had when I was born. And I still got pictures of him in his motorbike with his sidecar. With actually, my mum was in it as well, but they'd have the dog, and he'd have his own little goggles on as well. And they'd be just. That's the way. You don't ever see people with motorbikes and sidecars anymore, do you?
No, not often. No.
Oh. I tell you the way. Actually, when we went to, okay, it's never going to go well when you start the sentence when we went to Amsterdam. But when we went. We won tickets to Amsterdam, to a holiday in Amsterdam for a week. Took the kids, because where else would you go with the kids but to Amsterdam? It was through Walker's Crisps. So Walker's Crisps were a really bad influence on the kids. Anyway, we're on the bus going into town from where the hotel is, and we look out the window, and there's just this naked bloke just cycling past on the road. And everybody else, obviously the locals, didn't bat an eyelid, but they saw us looking at it, and you could see they were looking. You could tell who the tourists are, because we were just like, what? We're looking out the window, just what? And then all the locals just like looking at us and laughing. It's like they've seen it a million times. It means that they could tell who the Brits were. But that was quite a weird thing to see. I mean, he did wear a hat. He did have a hat, so he was protecting one of his heads.
Yeah. With and saying about clothing, not just naked people, but do you remember back when you lived in Bedford, the lady that everyone called the Elizabethan lady?
Yes. She was she's trying to protect everyone's souls or something. Or
Oh
was that
no,
someone else?
no, that was
But I know
Mother.
the one who dressed up, little parasol as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm when I volunteered in a charity shop, she once came in, and I ended up in a conversation with her because she was very notorious. Everybody knew her and recognized her, walking around in these sort of Victorian Elizabethan style dresses. And it turns out that was one of her hobbies, and she came to charity shops to buy old wedding dresses and bridesmaids dresses that had been donated, and she would actually then go home and make new clothes out of them in that old-fashioned style, and then that's what she
cool.
walked around. But the thing is, walking around Bedford town centre like that, you do suddenly go, that's weird. However, go to Camden in London, and it's like she would just look normal.
Yeah. But it's like in films when you watch people dressed up in their long black cloak, like Neo in The Matrix. Looks really cool. But if you were to walk in the streets like that, everyone would be going, what a freak. What a weirdo. But in a film, things look so right in a film, whereas they don't look right in the real world.
Yeah. Well, it's like something that I've always considered wearing is getting a proper Stetson made and getting cowboy boots. However, in the UK, if I started walking around in cowboy boots and a Stetson, everyone would just go, you're a weirdo.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my son came back after they did their gig in the States. They went to Texas and all the area around there, and he came back with a proper hat and proper boots.
Nice.
But again, he doesn't want to wear them out of the house. But but when you see pictures of them on stage in Texas, in Arizona, where it just looks natural.
Yeah,
because it just doesn't look out of place. But as soon as if you came to Plymouth, it would look out of place. But and that's the other thing with clothing. I mean, you look how people used to dress in the 1930s. Nice hat, suit. Everybody looked so smart, even though nobody was really rich. Everybody has enough money for a good suit and a hat, and it's like, this is really stylish. Yes. And if you try to wear it now, you couldn't get away with it.
Yeah, well, the few times where, because as you know, I wear a three-piece suit to work,
You
and
do. It's for
when
wet play.
yeah, and when I leave work and go into town or even any of the pubs, suddenly I get all this attention or people looking at me because that's weird. Why are you wearing a suit?
Yeah. Especially when you've got like a little pocket watch and everything.
I do actually own a pocket watch. I never wear it though.
And when did you stop wearing the monocle?
When we realised that the Monopoly man doesn't wear one.
But that's what you should do. That's what you need to finish that. You look off. You just need a monocle with it too. And just sit there at the back of the hall during assembly and just stare at the head teacher in your suit with your monocle on.
And a top hat.
And a top hat. Oh, it's got to be the top hat. Yeah.
Yeah. They'll start thinking I'm related to Rees Mogg. Yeah. But with you saying about Sam going away and coming back with boots and a Stetson, that was like when I went to Edinburgh.
Came back with a kilt and a sporran.
I did.
Ah.
Every pub I went in, the Scottish blokes, and it wasn't the tourist. Well, there were some tourists, but you were going into pubs and there were proper Scottish blokes wearing the kilts, the sporran, and all of that. And I went, great. I'm going to go and buy one. So I went to the proper kilt shop because I actually asked the locals where should I get one because there's loads of shops selling them.
Yeah.
And the locals actually directed me to the one that does the proper kilts, actually makes them on site. So you can actually go and watch the machines putting the different tartan patterns together. So that was interesting. Well, because I'm not Scottish at all and have no roots to Scotland, and there is no tartan for my name. So I ended up with the one that British people, well, Englishmen can wear, which was the Black Watch, who were military defectors from the English army who decided to run away into Scotland. And they were rounded up to make a military police force for the Scottish. And they were called the Black Watch, which is the inspiration for the gate in Game of Thrones.
Okay. Interesting.
So it's a black tartan with green and blue in it. Looks quite cool, actually.
So apparently the modern tartan was invented by an Englishman called Thomas Rawlinson in the 1720s because he was an industrialist and he had the looms to do it. But up until then, it was so 15th century, there was Scots wore something like a kilt, or like just a large woolen wrap belted at the waist. But I think the actual kilt itself. So you could have said you were you were related to Thomas Rawlinson, and they would have to give you the original one. I do have a llama wool poncho from some reservation in America when we went there. So that's quite nice, but it's always been too hot to wear it.
Yeah.
And also sort of thing, again, in America, if you go to Arizona, you can wear it in the evenings and it keeps you cool. Over here, you look like an idiot.
Yeah.
So there's so many items of clothing that you want to wear. I want to wear that you can't because you just look like an idiot wearing it. Yeah, I want to wear a hat. I've got the wrong shaped head for a hat. I don't know what it is because my head is just stupid. And hats do not fit me. Or every time I put hats, I go to Sandy, how's this? Or Louise, it's like, can I wear this hat? Can I get away? No, put the hat down. Just put the hat down. I want to know, is there a hat? I watched a video with Adam Savage from Mythbusters because he's got a fedora. I think it is very much like Indy's one, Indiana Jones. But apparently there's very fine differences in these different hats. And you will find one particular style will suit you where nothing else will. So if you live in a place like the States where a lot of people wear hats because it's very sunny all the time, obviously, you can go and pick the right one. Here, you just got to go to the local supermarket and see what they've got on the shelf. That's not usually much of a choice.
Or going to is it Savile Row in London and end up coming out with a bowler hat or a top hat.
Can you imagine me going into Savile Row?
Yeah.
Honestly, They wouldn't even let me in the street, let alone in the buildings. Doesn't matter how much money I would or wouldn't have. They wouldn't believe I had any.
Yes, but we need to get our suits and our upgrades to our glasses.
Your monocles, you mean? Double monocles.
The glasses that do all the things like recording stuff, and we can talk to each other through them. And as long as we say Oxford's not broke, we're fine.
I'm blind in one eye. That would not work for me. Guaranteed it'll be the eye that I can't see out of that things will happen in.
I'm sure Merlin can come up with a solution for
He's
that.
dead.
Oh yeah, good point.
That's when I stopped watching those films.
Yeah.
Luckily, it was at the end. So, and there was no more.
They have
kill off
spoken
Mark Strong
about
character. No, there's no more. After Mark Strong's gone, there's no more.
Yeah, they have spoken about doing a third one, but it's only ever been spoken about.
Yeah, they're quite good films, though. Apart from when they killed Mark Strong off for no real reason. Talking about traveling, I'm going to tell you this, whether or not you want to use this or not. Sam, the band went to play at Lollapalooza at the weekend.
Nice.
Lollapalooza this year, not in America, but in Berlin. They've obviously got a Berlin one, so they've got a European one. They decided to take the tour bus. So, how long do you think they drove from Brighton to Berlin? How long do you reckon they were on the road for?
12 hours.
They were in there for 22 hours. It took a drive for 22 hours to get there. Then they played, right?
Yeah.
They played, their set was at the same time as Pitbull. So they had about half a dozen people turn up. Everybody else was watching Pitbull. Then they drove back for another 22 hours. Actually, it wasn't. There must have been about 1,000 people there. But considering there was like 20,000 people watching Pitbull, it's like, can you believe it? At the exact same time as the big artist that they decided to put their set on after traveling all that way.
I didn't realize Pitbull was still relevant, to be fair.
Oh, apparently he's huge still, apparently. I've never even heard him. I didn't even know who he was until I saw a video of the band all wearing ball caps. And what's just really funny, because obviously Sam's got a bit of colour in him and he's wearing this white ball cap. He looked like he was just wearing a swimming hat. And he's got quite generous afro underneath that head. So he looked like he had this like giant like Mekon head that was underneath the ball cap. But that was quite good. That's a style he won't do again, I'm sure.
And on that note, I think it's time to end the episode. Yeah.
Well, if you insist.
Yeah.
We couldn't think of anything else people have done that's weird. So everybody's too normal after that.
Yeah. Yeah, weird things people do still listen to us.
Yeah, well, there's not so many of them, but we can. That's not a weird thing. It's the people who don't listen to us. They're the weird ones.
Yes.
But anyway, we learnt about your diarrhea and your vomit, which is awesome.
Do find us on social media. Leave us tell us on either the platform that you're listening to, if it allows comments, or on social media, or join our Discord and let us know on there. What's the weirdest thing that either you have done or someone else has done?
I bet you somebody's going to say we saw two fat blokes walking around wearing buffoon shirts, waddling around the town centre somewhere, and we just had to look at them and laugh. Just this granddad and his grandkid wandering around, buffoon shirts on.
Yeah, so do follow us on social media. Do find us, like, comment, share, all of that sort of stuff. Do tell other people to listen. If the thing that you're listening to...
Demand they listen, not tell.
Yes.
Demand.
And if the platform you're listening on to us on allows for a rating, do give us a rating and do leave us a comment. And as always, I always say about Patreon, you can get bonus content on our Patreon feed. So do look at that and consider giving us some money to help keep the podcast going. And do look at the website, boofoons.co.uk. I think I've mentioned everything there in that sign off.
I think, yeah, and more than enough. I think no one can complain.
No. So come
No.
back Wednesday for a mystery. Come back next Saturday for another one of these ridiculous episodes where sometimes we don't even know where they're going until we press record.
It could, and yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's probably gone so many other directions than what you actually get to hear.
Yeah.
You'll find them on Patreon.
Bye.
Bye.
Boo Foons, mystery investigators.
Off the case.